Hello and welcome to the first episode of Olive Tree Podcast. We're your hosts, Andrew, Carter, and myself, Anush. We're all seniors in high school, heading off to college in a few months um, to Indiana University, Bloomington, to down south from our home in Carmel, Indiana. Andrew, why don't you take it away with what's going on in quarantine?
Yeah, for sure. Well, this is definitely not the type of second semester that we expected. Definitely had to cancel out on a lot of plans. No, Nosh and we had spring break plans. Going to San Francisco.
Yeah,
I
that
had
was
plans to work to at Chipotle for the rest of the semester, and I got canceled. So yeah, quarantine's really keeping us away from doing the things that we love. But
for
we,
sure.
yeah, we still uh, have been tasked with the duty of doing this podcast
Hmm.
for Mrs. Malloy. I think it's a good way for us to self reflect and think about the time that we had during high school and carry some ideas with us into the future. So it's a good time to just uh, sit down and talk with your friends and all reminisce about the good times, the bad times, and just the times
Just
during high
lessons
school.
that we've
You know,
learned together, right?
yeah.
Of course. All right, Carter, why don't you take it away with the first question that we've been asked?
All right, the first question is, what did you learn from the last 4 years of your life, both at high school and outside of high school? And I've got a few opinions about this, but I'd say my big opinion is um, life is kind of bigger than some of the drama that goes on in high school, and you really want to make an effort to spend more time with friends.
For
And just
sure.
kind of, you also got to kind of balance that with school so you don't just completely drop it.
And
Yeah,
I think too for me, senior year, I've also made a bigger emphasis on family too, especially after freshman through junior year, where it felt like a lot of academic grinding. Um,
yeah, of course.
Senior
Yeah,
year
yeah,
has
yeah.
opened it up a lot more for not only friends but also just more time at home with my family. So
Yeah, I think coming into high school, freshman year especially, I was like new environment, new everything. So, especially the school, if you compare it to Creekside where we all went, like Carmel High School was a lot larger, and I'd been in the school before, but actually attending it, like that was just a different story entirely.
mhm.
So I had
I
to get
yeah.
used to that environment of actually being academically like super academically driven because everyone around you is trying to like be great, be successful, that kind of thing. So
Mhm.
yeah, there was a lot of that going on like the first 3 years, but then senior year I was like I have a lot more time to actually do things that I like, and that's what I try to do.
Mhm. For
And
sure.
like, what high school is done playing on that is like, since it's a new environment, it kind of like pushes you to do different stuff than you don't normally do. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
unless you go out of your way to kind of stay um, in your usual routines, but like there's so
Mhm.
many different options that high school, like Carmel especially, allows you to do and like kind of expand yourself.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. I have one story myself in freshman year. I signed up for house just like every other freshman. I
oh
think that
yeah,
was cool. I
oh
think that was the cool thing to do. Just because all your friends were doing it, everyone at the whole school was doing house. Um, and
I
I think
for
like
house.
me as a freshman Asian American, I was like, yo, man, maybe this can help me with college.
Right, right,
Maybe
right.
it can help me with college admissions. So I did house, and then after I did house for my first year, one really funny story is I applied for, I think it was not Senate or no, it's cabinet maybe. It's the leaders of house.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I applied for that, and everyone else in my like interviewing room left except me and Dion. And it's funny because Dion is the current speaker of the house, right? So he's the so he's the current leader of the house. But the interview was just me and him, and across me was just three or four teachers, and right across from us was just me and Dion. And let me just say the things that they made us do, like just dance your most like ridiculous dance or like try to embarrass yourself or like tell your most embarrassing story.
Oh my
Like
god.
those were really like crucial questions, I think, if you wanted to be a leader in house, because you needed to be comfortable being outside of your normal
Oh
comfort
yeah,
zone.
yeah, yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
and just that interview itself, I completely tanked it. Like my dance was crap compared to Dion's dance. Like my dance was just awful.
Well, I mean, that's the point
Like
of the dance.
right,
It's
right.
not.
It was the point of it was to get uncomfortable, but I think coming out of it, it was really like a life learning experience because
Mm.
it really pushed me outside of my comfort zone because I've always been that like Asian kid in the back of the room just grinding out textbooks.
I
So
feel
like
that. I
really
feel that.
pushing myself out there into like a social environment that's like I'm surrounded by like 50 white people that are all really like love being around other people, really social. And
Right,
there's like
right,
little old me that's like just plays games on his computer. So
right.
that was
I
cool.
think, yeah, I think another lesson that I started to learn pretty quickly was focus on focus on your own grind, but like don't worry about like anybody else.
Hmm.
Because I think it's so easy to see how well everybody else is doing compared to yourself, and that starts to weigh down on you a lot. So, and I feel that even if you're faltering, like in one class compared to your classmate, like I think it's best to not let their successes um make you feel any less competent. So that's one of the major lessons that I took away from these last 4 years.
For sure. I think
Yeah.
there was that one meme I saw on Reddit or somewhere. It was like roses are red, violets are blue. There's always an Asian better than you. And of
Oh
course,
yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
it's not always Asians, right? Asians are like for karma at least, and it's more like academically focused. Maybe they're better at you in like math or like chemistry or something. But like there's
Mhm.
a lot of people that are just like better than you at singing. Like the ambassadors are better at you at singing and
Oh,
dancing. They're the
singing,
people who are on
dancing.
like varsity cross country and varsity
Yeah,
like cross country track. They just like they're just good at running. So
sure.
I
there's
mean,
there's going to be
everyone.
people around you that are better at everything.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's got like their own separate thing. That's what's great about high school is that you can do your own thing, and then you're just with like a group of people that share the same interests, and like
Hmm.
it's which is very different than everybody
Yeah.
else. So like the people in performing arts and then people in sports.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like even though like it's actually really defined at Carmel that culture, because obviously I think Carter and Andrew definitely know about this, like the Siley cliques and then the tennis cliques. Like they're their own group of people, and they all have their own like thing going on. But then the thing is, they all relate with one another about like about a certain topic that they all enjoy. So I
Hmm.
think that's something that um that that's really important about high school,
Hmm.
because it helps you um find out, like Carter said, like what you're interested in. So yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I think another really important thing I was able to take away or learn from my time at Carmel School is that school only matters so much. I think I can speak from all of us on that. We all grinded really hard during
Yeah.
high school. Yeah, I think from my freshman to junior year when I was taking like freshman year, for example, I only took one AP, but
Mhm.
I took like five, and then I slowly took like seven, and then I took like another six. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
school was literally my life. I would push other things aside. I would push like friendships, relationships, romantic sense, relationships with like my family and stuff. Like
Hmm. Hmm.
just overall enjoyment in life.
For
A lot
sure.
of the times I felt pressured where I was like, okay, if I don't do well in school, like if I don't do well on this one test, my life is just like screwed. But once you get to a senior year, I feel like everything gets put into perspective. You finally apply to college, and then you get into college, and it's like, well, I got into college. So like,
And
why
that's
did
the
I
important
why did I
part.
stress
Yeah.
so much over like math assignment 8.3?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I understand that a lot. Um, I guess that heads into the next question, that being, how do you want to be remembered?
mhm,
Um, I don't know. I mean, me personally, how
mhm,
do I want to be remembered? Jeez. The only thing I've really involved myself with at school is the tea club.
mhm,
Um, I think I've done a lot of decent things for the club. I wouldn't say I've made like a like an immense impact on it.
hmm I
But
yeah, I
but
feel like there's sometimes where you feel like you didn't make that big of an impact, but there could be like ninth graders or 10th graders, that
I
like
feel that
see
you
what
are,
you're
yeah,
doing, like
right,
you
yeah,
don't feel the immediate impact of like 20 people running up to you like asking for autographs, but sometimes just
right,
like basic gestures of you making sure you're doing like your stuff on time, like making sure you're checking in with the teacher, like you're doing your duties.
right,
Sometimes that
right.
in it of itself can be enough to like serve as a symbol to be remembered by your
Right. Just
underclassmen.
being like a good role model for those that are
And I,
really
I feel like it's not even just the kids under you. It could also just be your friends or other
as
officers
well.
with you.
Right.
It's just like they'll be sitting in their dorm room, like in the middle of college, and they're like, "Man, Anusha was a really good key club officer." Like a guy that like random stuff like that just comes to my mind, like about like things that happened 5 years ago.
Sure,
So
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, legacies can be left without like very like immediate large impacts.
Impacts,
Could just
yeah.
be a small little thing, just like
Mhm.
doing your job. So.
Yeah, I mean, especially in high school, this question is kind of rough to put like on a huge perspective. Like,
Mhm.
you're not changing like I don't know, like thousands of lives, but you don't really need to. It's just about like small things in the classroom or something
Right.
that just make people like just remember that in the future and
Mhm.
like
And
building relationships.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I feel like there will be people around you that will be remembered more. Like
Oh,
not in our like own high school sense. Like obviously we have Iris, like that's really cool. We've got like Phoebe Bates, like she's a runner. We got all these cool people doing different stuff. Feel like Eamon Bolad being remembered as a photographer. But
Yeah.
if we can think to other high schools like of famous actresses or actors, like can you imagine how the classmates in those schools feel like?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, my classmate became like a Hollywood actress. So it's like, so like the small things you do sometimes I feel like can carry a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think going off of what you like just said, um, being like I think that word being remembered just like if you're able to make an impact, I think on one person,
Mhm.
I think that like that's a feat in and of itself because having an impact on someone is such a great thing. But like even if
Mhm.
they don't like tell you that you had an impact on them, if they're able to use what you're doing and then like make it better or just do something with that, I think you've succeeded like
Mhm.
one way or another. So yeah,
Fact. Yeah. And if I were to think about this question um a bit more, I think gym and science olympiad, two things probably took up the most of my time during Carmel High School. Obviously, I've built a really
was more like
amazing
what
community
just junior
of
and
people
senior
who
year
all gym with me. The gain squad, which is really
game
cool.
squad. Yeah,
Um, that's always kept me going. But Science Olympiad too. It's just a community of like 15 or 30 just really dedicated Asian students that all love to study. So
not all of them were Asian, Andrew. You remember that?
oh shit, yeah.
uh,
But yeah, just a gang of kids, that all love to study, and I think maybe it's not like I did anything groundbreaking in the club, but I hope just and maybe like one or two of my friends or even underclassmen can just remember me for some cool thing I did at competition or something like that. So
I thought you were pretty cool. You're getting all those medals, so you'll be
yeah.
remembered like that by me.
thanks.
No problem.
And
All right.
like, yeah, I'll
Oh yeah.
I'll add one more thing is like, um, what I've kind of taken to liking this year's especially is just having like fun in class. And like, it's not always like an intense academic environment. You're super focused, but it's good to like relax and have some fun and like joke around. And like, um, what's great with Carmel is like some teachers will do that too. I mean, like the teachers aren't like super strict and like, they're always forcing you to do stuff. So like, it's good to have that fun environment so you just don't feel stuck in this boring place all the time.
That's actually a really good point because I think what is it? I keep referencing like freshman and sophomore year because during those 2 years I was really like wound up as a student, as a person. Like every like I was just a wound up guy, so I didn't really understand the point of having a fun time in class at all. But then, but then I think junior year, surprisingly, I was just like, you know what, maybe it's best to like be less of a dick in class, and just be like a chill
Just
person.
chill out a little bit, you know,
Right? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
relax.
Yeah.
Yeah. This next question, particularly, why should you be remembered? Honestly, can you guys think of any like good reason that any of us, I think, should be re- remembered?
Yeah, I feel like this question is almost like a bait, like I
That's
think like
true. Yeah,
all of
it
us
is.
want to be remembered in somehow. Like I'm sure like just leaders of DECA want to be remembered. Like Speaker of the House wants to be remembered. President of our class wants to be remembered. But like, why should you be remembered? That's more of like a how would I put it? Like egotistical.
Yeah, it's like building
Right.
your own
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
confidence.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's always like good that can come from like why should you be
Right,
remembered?
right.
Because
Not
like, you could
well, on
have
the flip
done
side, it's
something
like more of
good.
a confidence builder.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like a
Oh
positive
yeah.
thing. It shouldn't be looked
Yeah.
down upon as like a terrible thing. But
Right. But I don't know the way that I view the word like should.
mhm,
It means that I've done something for Carmel High School, or just like for like one of my peers, or just my
mhm,
peers in general, that has just been something like life changing, or like really impactful in some way. And I do
mhm,
not remember doing any of that.
yeah.
So I can't find a really good reason that I should be remembered, but
Mhm.
I can always say that I want to be remembered.
Yeah,
Don't
I,
really know
I
why.
I feel like all of us, not only just the three of us, but I feel like every person in our class will be remembered for something, you know, and
Right,
they will have an own personal view of how they want to be remembered. But
of course.
I think it's a bit harder to always answer the should.
I
Yeah.
mean, like putting like a defining answer on like why should you be remembered? It's like you can't really come up with that answer. It's like
Yeah, it's like maybe like by the time I'm 80, like on my deathbed, I'll be like, yeah, I should be remembered for that like university I founded, or like I should be
Oh
remembered
yeah.
for like
Oh
that
yeah.
really fat like $20 million check donation I made. But right
Right.
now, as an 18-year-old recent like high school graduate, like should I be remembered for anything? No, I don't think so. Like I don't feel like I've done that
I
cool
think
of a
it's
job.
hard now too, because like we're still trying to find our way. And just just that question, like why should you be remembered? It's kind of hard for us to answer even now. Like
Mhm,
even after getting all this experience over the past 4 years. Surprisingly, over the past 4 years, people can change a lot, but I still feel that I am an infant when it comes to being
mhm,
being a with respect to having wisdom about like the stuff around me.
for sure.
All right.
should we move on to the next question we have here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What goodbye message do you want to share with your block classmates? Like,
Cardi, you want to go first?
Yeah,
yeah, I
you get
guess
started.
for this one is like, especially in block, is that it was a lot more relaxed than any other class that I've had, and like I
Mhm,
mean that I can remember. So it's like we just had like a lot of fun like on a daily basis. Whenever people weren't like super like grinding on their paper or something.
You, Abram,
Yeah,
and Addie,
maybe it's a
the
little bit
gang.
too much fun because I never got my work done, but I had a good time and I still passed the class. So that's in the end, I passed the class, have a good time. Then
Oh yeah.
it was successful.
mhm. And that's you.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know if this goes for you guys, but I have zero clue about the other 80% of the kids that are in our class. I maybe know like 20 of them.
That
Yeah,
is one of the grinders, man. He's
I
yeah. He's always got his head down, just grinding that work away. Those
you
the
you
stat
both
worksheet.
know that's cap. You both know that's cap. Anyway, yeah, like even though I didn't know like 80% of the kids within the class, it was great because we all like, even though we may have not known each other's names, it was just great because we all had fun within the class itself. Um, Mrs. Malloy and Mr. Runke did a really good job of making the class pretty entertaining.
Mhm.
And and I guess a final message from me would just be like, I'm pretty sure all of us will find our way, and we're all going to be successful in like whatever we put our
Mhm.
minds to. Because everybody in that class is academically driven, so I'd be really surprised if
Yeah,
um
I
they,
wish.
they didn't end up doing something that was beneficial for the world around them. And Carter, what was that? What
I
was
wish
it?
I was academically driven, man. That'd be a blessing.
Oh my god.
Andrew, do you have a goodbye message for us?
All right. Something I had to say. Sorry, I was picking up my phone real quick.
You're
Uh,
fine.
yes. It's just let's get that bread. I think life is so long, and there's so many different routes that everyone can take. Like we got some people really passionate about poli sci. They want to do government when they grow up, or some people
Right.
that want to be doctors. Some people that are just really dedicated and that they want to do business. They want to do business, or like they want to do something else, or open an ice cream shop or something like that. So I don't know. I just feel like everyone's got that potential in them to do a really good job. So
Hmm.
I just it excites me, to see everyone grow up and just start pumping away at stuff. For sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right. What advice do we have for future block students?
Yeah, give me a sec real quick. You guys can go.
I will
Okay,
take it away here. I'll start off and like
go ahead.
this mainly pertains like just to me, but also it's like just to keep um, students on track. It's like what I did for pretty much all the years. Like I did very little work in class just because my mind was just out of school as a senior. And while it's great to um, have fun, I mean I was probably a distraction to a lot of other students. But you want to make sure if you just do the work like on time and just get it done fast, then you can still have fun. I mean like you don't need to pile it up and just wait till the last minute and then end up pissing off your teachers. So it's like a lose
Yeah,
lose situation almost.
yeah.
Well,
That's a
just
good
like
lesson that you learned, wasn't it,
I mean
Carter?
it's too late now. I mean
Oh
Like,
yeah.
What are you talking about?
I was talking about how like I did no work and I was just like messing around the entire time, and it's just better to just like do your work immediately and then
Nah,
have
screw
fun.
that, dude. Like
Bruh.
there is merit to just like putting everything off.
Well, I mean, like, it's good to have fun in class, but I feel like I did it to an extent where it wasn't necessary because there were some times where I was like, because I mean, like, if either Mr. Miller or Mr. Warwick were getting mad at me, like, which is
Mhm.
fair, like, they just like put me, they literally, I mean, I was put in a corner because I was talking so much, but
It's
like,
like a timeout corner. That's what it was called, wasn't it? It's like
yeah, and I like the issue was is I still didn't do work while I was in that
oh
corner
yeah.
just because
Oh
it was
yeah.
just harder to do work in class. So just don't do that. That's the issue. Like just do work. I mean, if you want, do it like work like as low or as little as you can,
Mhm.
but still doing work is good. So like,
Word of advice, kids: don't ever leave the black classroom early.
okay, then whatever. To this day, it was like 1 minute.
That
I
was
was
funny.
just I was just messing around a little bit, you know.
Mhm.
Now, what I feel that. I feel that.
Sure.
I guess just going off what Carter was saying about doing your work on time. Extensions are great. I think mm, Mrs. Malloy is very gracious in that she gives us like extensions on assignments. I think what is it? My lit review. Oh wait, yeah, my lit review. That I think that was due in like October or
Oh, geez,
November
that
or
was like
something,
a
and I turned that
universal extension.
I turned that in like December.
Yeah, dude. I don't want
Right?
to say I
Like
spent more time on my lit review than my actual paper, but like I spent a
I
lot of time on that lit review.
yeah I I definitely probably should have just gotten that like cranked it out in like one session and just submitted it, but
Your
I
brain
just
would have been
kept putting it
fried if you tried
I
that.
just kept putting it off. Well,
Mhm.
I mean, there's that, and then there's having the stress of doing 13 sources in like one night. So, yeah.
I mean, you could just been like a normal student and just do like 5 one day and then 5 another day and 5 another
Yeah,
day,
but
and like you'd be good to go.
Carter, I'm a senior.
Yeah, I
Does
know
it
we're all seniors,
really
so none of
like
us are really normal students. So
Yeah,
uh
going off that senior idea. This is really biased and really personal. I feel like some people get triggered, but I feel like if you're a senior and you're feeling stressed about block class specifically, you're kind of doing senior year wrong.
that's actually
that's
facts.
It's
yeah,
like
That's actually
Mr.
that's
facts.
facts.
Stolpe. I remember Mr. Stolpe would be like, "Yeah, if you're like stressed over AP Gov, you're doing AP Gov wrong," and that was the biggest facts I've ever heard from any teacher. Like I'd be taking Calc BC, and Mr. Beck would be like, "You will have sleepless nights. You will have
Oh yeah,
sleepless
yep,
weekends.
that's
Like
very
you will
true.
have days where like you're just grinding out like 30 homework assignments and like you need to study for like one homework check, and then the very next class you have another quiz, and the class right after that you have your midterm. Like
Oh my god.
there'd be classes where it's really stressful, right? But I feel like block in another class like Gov, if you're feeling really angsty about block, there are tools out there. There are the extensions, there are the Malloys and the Workies to talk to you, and there are like your other block students. Like
Oh yeah.
you
Oh
can
yeah.
always complain about how BS Workies grading was about this one section, or like you can always just talk to each other about like, yo, are you getting your methods done? And they say no, and you say, hey,
Right,
me
right, right.
neither.
Yeah.
Like you can always find comfort in like each other. So like
Right.
I feel like there's not too much stuff to do between stats and research that warrants like super stressful times. Maybe like during data collection, like if you have a really
Oh
tough
yeah. Oh yeah.
like tough research project, like then maybe right you get really stressed over it. But
Right, 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 right.
in general, I feel like most seniors were pretty chill about the
Hmm,
class,
hmm.
so that was definitely good. And
I think yeah, just adding on to what you said about there being a plethora of resources that you can use. I made the mistake of I think not using Mrs. Mulway as much as I probably should have or wanted to. Um, she's definitely the best resource for you to like get your paper done, make it look good, that kind
mhm,
of thing. I'm
right,
not
there's
gonna
always that
like
yeah,
I'm not gonna say that my the quality of my paper would have been better if I was actually in school, but yeah, my quality of my paper would have definitely been better if I was in
It's
school.
probably a small
uh-huh,
factor.
Cause like being in quarantine, being at home, like I think my work ethic, especially for my paper, just hit the floor. Like it was just terrible.
mhm,
Like I think what is it? I hadn't opened my paper since maybe March like 15th,
Yep.
and that was just I was like, oh, okay, wow, it's been like a whole month, and then I spent like maybe 3 or 4 days actually like adding sentences and stuff.
mhm.
Even now, I'm like not terribly confident in my paper or like happy with it, but it's the best work that I could have put out
as a,
given
as a senior, right?
as a oh yeah, totally as a senior.
Uh-huh.
Let me get
I'm
my
not gonna
paper.
lie. For me, it got to mid-April, and I remember someone randomly asked me over text, like, "Yo, Andrew, what was your research topic?" And I was like, "That's a fantastic question." I thought about it for like 10 seconds. I was like, "Oh, okay, I remember now." Like it all
Yeah, yeah,
brought it
yeah.
back to me. But it's like I feel like when we had block every single day, it was like a constant like, "Oh shoot, like you got to do research today. You got to
Gotta
do
do this,
research
gotta do
today.
Oh
that.
yeah.
You got
Yeah,
to make sure you
yeah.
do research today." And like sometimes I would literally just be opening up your document. But that would at least serve as a constant reminder as to like you need to get your work done
What
and
to
like
do? Yeah.
you need to know what your topic is or else you're not going to get your paper done, right? But like after a month of quarantine, I was just straight up like, no, it wasn't in my mind,
Yeah, but
you know?
I think
Uh,
I think the thought, yeah, like the thought of my paper exited my mind after I did my presentation, and then like late April, beginning of May, I was like, oh yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's the thing that I have to do.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me and Carter, that hit even harder because me and Carter, we did that the first
Oh
day.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
We
yeah.
signed up. We signed up for presentations on the very first day because we wanted to get that stuff over with. Um,
Oh
I'm,
yeah.
I mean, I didn't even touch the paper that much when it came time to finally submit. I just like I put an appendix. I put an appendix and I turned that in. Like I was done since day one. I was like, okay, my paper's done.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like one more thing is like because there's not all seniors in the class. I mean, like there are juniors also. And I guess it's a little bit different. You don't really want to lose your work ethic as a junior because,
Oh,
while it's not
facts,
like it's
yeah.
not like I don't usually put like a huge percent of focus on junior year, but it's important enough that you want to keep focused throughout the year. Like,
Junior year, definitely compared to like the the other years, like it's always a meme, right? Like freshman and sophomore year, you're just like 2 years till junior year, 1 year till junior year. When junior year actually hits, it's just like
You want to be a
a-
senior, like.
it's like a truck like
Yeah.
just slammed into you, and it's just like continuing for the
Yeah,
next
that
10 months.
that brings up a funny story. For my, I think it was my second semester final exam season during junior year. I had 297 multiple choice questions on one day. I remember that very vividly. It was a gold day. I had my APES final,
Jesus.
my A push final, and my psych final.
Oh
Psych
my
final was
god.
100 questions multiple choice. APES was 100 question multiple choice, and then like A push was near God 100 multiple choice questions. Like
Jesus Christ.
I was just getting slammed. And then I think 2 days before that, I had my Calc BC final or something
Oh
like that. So
no.
it was just like relentless pursuit of just like information jamming into my brain. And like at that point, I had already somewhat given up. Like my grades were like, okay, whatever. Like I'll just like tank it, But like,
Right.
but yeah, like by the end of junior year, I felt like a senior. I had a senior already, but
Oh, for sure.
yeah, just
Like,
junior year, you just have so much piled on. With the
Right.
starts off with the PSAT, and then you got the normal sats, and
oh
then you got the
yeah.
ACT, and then you got the APs, and then like you got to
I
think about
think
college applications. Like, bruh, like
I think honestly, I think every month of junior year I was taking a major test. I
Oh,
think
like
yeah,
yeah, like a test
no,
that
like
your life
seriously,
depended
like
on
a
it. Like,
major test. I was taking one every single month.
right. I
Uh,
yeah,
it's crazy because I think it was like October PSAT, November SAT, like December ACT, like January. I think I took the SAT again, and then like it was just crazy the amount of like studying like for that test along with like the seven other APs that I was taking. Like oh my god.
I think one of the really truly beautiful things about APs at Carmel High School once you get to like junior year is that no matter the AP I've taken, like I feel like all the APs I've taken, you literally just have two tests a quarter.
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
AP art history, AP US history, AP calc, AP like chemistry. Like we just have one major test every quarter or two major tests. And I've done the math before. Like when you have one or two major tests every quarter, that test is basically a final exam. Like how much it's weighted.
yeah.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
like
But what's even
you're basically
worse?
taking a final every like month,
I
but
remember.
it's in every class.
I think like almost every 3 or 4 weeks during junior year, I'd be calculating like what I need on like a
Oh,
certain test just to maintain my A.
Yeah.
Like that was oh god.
I remember freshman year when I thought I could maintain A's, and then it got to junior,
I'm
like, wow, I was like, I
oh.
just want like a barely B plus.
I mean, like even with junior year, it's not like one or two major tests per quarter. It's like you have to do that for all your classes though.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just one
Right.
class. It's like you get hit with it all at the same time. Like not like the exact same day, but within like a certain like a week, you'll get hit with like AP Physics test, AP
Yeah,
Calc test, and it's just you
it's
don't know
really
what to do.
yeah,
I swear I had this weird theory that every teacher in the school conspired to put their tests on the same day because
It,
I remember sophomore year I have a Diamante test and like some other AIDS class and I just feel like
yeah.
what the heck? Like
Yeah.
why?
I think on the flip side though, it's like probability makes it so that like because of the limited number of days, like if you only have like 15 or 20 blue days in a
Hmm.
quarter or something, like after 10 blue days, you're for sure gonna have an assessment, right? And since
Right.
you have all the same classes on the same day, it feels like teachers like conspire against you, but
Oh
sometimes
yeah.
it's like
It's just like
it just
that's just
happens,
how it works. That's
So,
just how
like
it works.
that's
Yeah.
that is definitely the worst feeling, regardless of whether they conspire against you or whether it's just random probability. Like once you get slammed by like seven tests in the exact same week, and then your mom asks you if you studied for the SAT that's coming up on Saturday,
You just like
you're just like
uh
you're just like, bro, like
I've missed a couple SATs. I've had to reschedule some just because it doesn't really work out.
again, bro. Stop.
I guess I only took two, but one of them I missed somehow. I don't remember.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, I guess you don't remember, bro, because you weren't there, right?
I, yeah, there's nothing to remember.
All right. So what advice do we have for our peers and those graduating and those becoming seniors? So the juniors underneath us. So
I mean, I feel like we talked a little bit about what we just the last question, but I guess that was for
right.
just block students in general. So like
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
to more generalize it is just like um I mean, I'm just reiterating what I've already said. Just like focus enough that you pass your classes. Maybe some people will have a little bit more motivation and like get B's and A's. But my motivation for the entire year is just
Yeah.
pass your classes and then have fun outside of school. You
Right.
know,
Yeah,
like, and
right.
then possibly get a job because you should have a lot more time senior year and like start making money that could go towards college or just
Hmm.
to
Sure,
fund things that you want to do outside of school.
for sure. Or, be like Andrew, invest in stocks. That's always
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
thing.
For
Yeah,
sure. Stocks
always
are
a good
cool.
thing. Yeah. I think one thing that I like, have to say that's especially important. I don't know. You guys can probably attest to this. Set goals for yourself. It doesn't matter like if it's academic goals, personal goals. Just like set like goal setting. We learned about this in like what sixth grade health with like SMART goals. I
Oh, smart
I'd
goals,
I'd
dude.
I'd always clown those assignments. I should be like,
Yeah.
dude,
Dude,
like
that's low key useful though. Like
that's
smart
what I'm
goals, like
saying. That's what
low
I'm
key fire.
saying. That's what
You
I'm
know,
saying.
like we
I'm
clown, but like it's kind of useful.
right. Like setting goals for yourself and just like going forward into school isn't enough, but like you have to have other ventures as well. So
Hmm.
like make sure to better yourself in almost every facet of your life.
Hmm.
That's all I have to say.
Okay. Yeah. And then going off of that like kind of school academic thing, for me personally, to people who are becoming seniors, and this is coming from someone who loves grinding for grades, is that at the end of the day, grades don't matter too much. Of
Preach.
course, like you can't be getting Fs in every
Yep.
class. You can't be getting like if you're getting six Ds and then like one C, like you can
Car-
probably
Yeah,
pick up
I
A's a little
literally
bit,
was there. I
you know.
was there.
No, like no, I don't mean like halfway through the quarter. I mean like all your whole report card is like six Ds and
Oh,
like one
oh
oh,
C.
yeah,
that's
Because like
rough. That's rough.
I've worked with those students. When I was a math tutor, like I'd be working with the seniors who were held back. And they'd have to take like algebra 2 again, and like they'd be like, "Yo, Andrew, bro, I just got like my seventh D for this quarter." I'd be like,
that's
"Nice, man," but then I'd be like, "Yo, are you actually doing all right?" Like I'd be concerned with them. But like, if you're not getting D's and F's, and like you're getting one C and you're getting like five B's and one A, like it'll probably be
it,
fine. Like,
it
you know,
really
your,
it
your
really
life is not going to
like
be dictated too
like
much about grades.
see,
Obviously, it depends on how high you want to shoot, like what colleges you want to look at or
right,
what programs
right.
you want to look towards. But in a general sense, if you get an A minus, an A push versus an A, don't give your teacher like a $50 gift card to ask
Right.
them to like round up your grade by like six
Jesus
percent.
Christ. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Like
give
just
yourself
chill
a
out a bit.
break.
Just like go get a job or like go read a book instead. Like
Yeah.
just chill, just chill.
I think what is it? Especially I don't know, for those that want to that look to aim high and stuff. You obviously know that the first semester of senior year like that matters, but it doesn't matter as much as you think it might. Like like I got all A's my first like semester and sorry, hold up. No, I got a B in stats. My bad. Sorry, Mr.
There
Rookie.
we go. Yep.
Uh
Yeah, but like mostly
yeah.
good grades, like
Yeah, see like I got
right.
all A's and like a B in stats and I was like, okay, this isn't going to screw me over for going to college. Like
Right.
I have 3 other years of grades to back me up. Like me
I'd be impressed if you got those grades senior year. Just like
Yeah.
yeah.
having A's.
Gr- Granted my workload was quite literally five classes and I could like had that done in less than half a day. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's something
It
else
was
that
it was still a tax for a senior though.
oh for sure. Oh for sure. It was a tax. It was a lot of attacks. But second semester got cut short and I spent my time at home, which is a lot more chill.
Mhm. For sure.
Yeah.
And like one more like a specific thing I want to talk about for like anybody becoming a senior is like do senior schedule. I mean like unless you can't like
Mhm.
honestly if you have
Oh,
seven
that was a
classes
blessing.
just do senior schedule
Oh yeah.
anyways because
Oh
you
yeah.
still get that SRT off like
Mhm.
and I took 4 classes because I took 2 over the
My
summer and
second semester I took 4 classes, man. Like that
Yeah.
was
I was literally eating lunch at home and going to the gym and then I would go back to school
Yeah.
like I was
It's
doing nothing.
like yeah. I feel like going off of that, high school, like from freshman to junior year, it's not representative at all of what college is going to be like. Even though
Oh,
I haven't been in
100%.
college yet, like you'll have hard classes in college, you'll have a bunch of classes you need to take, but like you also have the personal freedom of like you get a plan when you go to the gym, you get a plan if you go to the gym,
Yeah.
like you get a plan what
Mhm,
days you
mhm,
want to hang
mhm.
out with your friends and whatnot. It's not like every single day you get back home from 4 to like 12. It's just like, oh God, I got to open up my math textbook, like you have more
God.
freedom in college, and
Oh,
I think
yeah.
senior schedule really lets you open up to like more opportunities.
Right, right, right. All right. So, boys, our last question.
Mhm.
Let's reflect on our year. How have we grown personally and academically? We've been talking about this basically the entire time, like how
Mhm.
we've grown academically, personally. Um, just as I've
Maybe
said
for this one,
before,
we just get more specific. We get a bit more deeper in the feels.
100%.
Yeah.
Um, I think as I've said a lot more, I've just become a lot more personable and not taking things terribly seriously. Um, I think a lot of the times, especially in freshman year, I'd just be it didn't even have to be a test grade. Like one bad assignment, I'd just be like, wow, I am really, really, really bad at like this entire class. Even though like I was doing pretty well, I'd just be taking everything seriously. And then, especially with like friendships and relationships and stuff like that, um, I don't know. It's not something I wanted to say before from personal experience. Just like re- pursuing a relationship in high school is amazing, but really it is not worth it. You are not going to stay with that person.
Hey, you don't need to take it out on other people just because you
I'm
didn't get a successful
boy,
relationship.
yo, Carter.
I mean, I'm not defending myself,
Carter,
but
uh,
okay,
I don't
calm
think
down.
any of us are in the right to defend ourselves here.
I don't think any of us have that like liberty to make that comment, Carter.
yeah, I'm just saying, I'm
Yeah,
just
no,
saying.
for sure. Going off of that, like you'll meet people in high school you want to date. You'll meet that gorgeous girl that's sitting next to you in math class, or like that one girl you think is like
The
really hot
one.
because she like drives a cool car and she works at your job, or like so they're
She
just like
has a cute voice. She's good at math. She
right,
helps with
like
your
you'll
homework.
connect with a lot of people that you're attracted to, right? And sometimes that can become a budding relationship, which is always good, just for life in general. Getting just like relationship experience or like rejection experience or acceptance experience, just that's just a part of life. So but like Anush said, I don't think people should be expecting too much from it. Like I don't think you're going to be marrying this person. It's
Oh
not
yeah.
statistically likely that you're going to be marrying the person that you're dating in high school, but
I mean,
there's
And if you
I've
do,
seen
well,
stuff about like
congrats.
that.
And if you don't, well, congrats as well.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
there's like that small chance that like, I mean, if you really connect, you just go all the way. But I mean, like,
Mhm.
I wouldn't go into anything thinking about that, because you've got your whole life ahead of you, and
And
as
there's
I've always
bigger
said, it's
things to
like
be
college is the
like
best time of your life.
worrying about too. Like high school isn't the time to be worrying about that kind of stuff. But
Right. Like if you're a young boy or girl with big dreams of like, I want to work at a law firm or I want to be a surgeon, like sometimes it's not the best idea to like date the like TikTok star with like 2 followers and like
yeah,
work with like a drug addict, that wears beanies all the time. Like
right, right,
no
right.
hate against those kids, but like sometimes you got to focus on your own future.
Yeah, like I said, focus on your grind, not about others. Carter, you got something to say?
Yeah. So I mean, I'll just point out the fact that academically, it took a huge dip, but like that's part of being a senior and really trying to relax a lot, and like that's kind of good. Kind of goes into
You're
my other
full
point and
CBD energy, huh?
transitioning.
Just like full, just vibing.
I think I remember uh, Highlight did it created a graphic about like freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year, and I was looking and I remember this picture very clearly because like it was a fairly accurate representation of what I thought um, high school would be like, and then junior year was just like sleepless nights. Sophomore year was just like that limbo phase between freshman and then junior year. Freshman year, you're just getting slammed from all sides to be like to like come up
Mhm.
to the standard, and then senior year, you're just like r- chilling, like relaxing, like that's it.
Yeah, I think like on the flip side, while some people like some juniors or like some other seniors that'll be like, "Yo, Carter, like you're such an academic sloth," you know, but like
Oh yeah,
I mean, I
on
was. I'm not
on
gonna.
the flip side of that, like you get time for yourself. You know, that's not something you get a lot of the time in
Yeah.
life. Like when you're when you're in the transition phase between high school and college, you really get to think like with all the college essays that you need to write and just like more free time, you get more time to yourself to think about who am I, what do I want to do, and like
right,
kind of just
right.
like big life questions. You know, so sometimes it's better to just like take a break for a year, and I think that's why some people take gap years. You know, so um,
I think that's something we take for
taking-
granted too, like
mm,
just time to ourselves,
right.
right? Like just because we're so involved, like we're so invested in our academic careers that we just like lose sight of taking time for ourselves and just like being the best like us.
Hmm.
So yeah,
I
Yeah.
mean, it kind of plays into like one other thing I want to add is like I learned more about who I was as a person. Like I could focus on some interests more than I could before, and then like I realized I could just be more like relaxed about some things. You know, not
Mhm.
everything was as big as people made it out to be.
for sure.
Not everything was as serious as it needed to be. You just kind of you started to just be more relaxed about that stuff and like focus on um,
Yeah,
yourself.
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
more time for yourself, less time for others. You know, which is
Hmm,
good.
hmm.
So
I
um,
think like just off to the side, like one more thing I want to say is, despite having a lower horse load this year, Um, I've especially started to gain an increased appreciation for my teachers.
mhm.
That goes double for every teacher I've had the past 3 years. Big shout out to Mr. Stolpe for being probably one of the chillest teachers I've ever had in the school. Like, dude's a goat.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, he's the proper like a great teacher.
Mhm.
Does and he's blunt, but it makes sense. Like it's not like mean blunt. It's like a good blunt.
I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, you
And
want like
then
a real teacher, you know, like
right,
that's
that's what I'm
real with
saying.
you, yeah.
Like yeah, I don't want someone that's fake. But yeah, and
I
then
feel like that could be a fun podcast idea for the future. It's just
oh,
teachers,
that
you know,
is
just
yeah, yeah. Like
teachers that we can
just
just
like
talk about like K through 12. You know, like some frat or some funny like teacher interactions or experiences
right,
that we
right,
had.
right. Yeah,
Ones that
yeah,
have
yeah.
made us cry, ones that made us laugh, like ones that
Oh, I
like
got a
stressed us to death. You know, so
bunch that made me cry, dude. Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
But yeah, I think
Um,
those would be cool. But yeah, going back on track onto the question, Anush, did you have anything left that you wanted to say?
no, I was just saying like I don't think I valued my teachers as
Mhm.
much as I should have, and I'm just saying this now, like you know, I have a lot more appreciation for them and the job that they do every single day, handling like over what is it over close to maybe 200 kids a day,
Right.
and maybe 50% of them aren't even paying attention.
That's the sad truth.
That's a
Yeah,
sad
that's
truth,
how it is, you know.
but like really like major respect, major
For sure.
respect.
I felt that a lot this year too. Not just going off of that a bit, not just my teachers, but just my advisors in life in general.
Right.
One thing that I learned or I grew a lot in personally this year was getting a job, learning how to manage like some financials for myself.
Hmm.
Uh, this year, I was able to pick up a job for it was around 5 weeks, but every single week I was working anywhere from 30 to 35 hours. So I was in my job longer than I was at school. So it was more of a full time job, honestly.
Right.
But
Right.
inside of my job, there was a lot of fun stories involved with working at Chipotle. But like the people who are working there are not going to be your AP Physics C nerds in the back of the room grinding it out on a TI Inspire. You know, like these are
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
like they got shoved into the workforce at age 18. Like they were left like homeless by their parents. You know, so it was really interesting to see their perspectives on life and
Yeah.
how they could help me and give me advice. Like one of my kitchen managers. His name was Ralphie. Man's was aged like 25 or 26, and he told me he's been working for like 10 years or something. So like
Wow.
man's like
Jeez.
hella like illegal working age type. But he was like, yeah, like
Don't
my dad,
expose.
he would be jokingly like saying it with a smile, like, yeah, my dad abused me growing up. I'm like, damn, bro, that's tough.
Jeez.
He's like, nah, bro, I got a job at 16. Like I've been grinding it out. Like I've got a wife and kids now. Like I'm just looking
Yeah.
to the future. Like I want to become a nurse in the future. I'm like, that's just great for you, man. Like it just made
Yeah.
me feel
Yeah.
a lot more
Yeah.
appreciative about my own current situations and how blessed I am to have the things that I do for my parents. But it also made me realize that like there are other people like battling some fights, you know?
And
Like,
it's not like just like for the 8 hours of school that we go through every day. It's like constant. It's every day, 24/7, three
mhm,
sixty five. Like they're going through that same battle every single day.
mhm,
And I think Mr. Hellman, freshman honors English teacher, said, like, he just came out and said it, like, every single one of us that goes to Carmel High School, or at least like a decent majority of us, we live within like a bubble, and we don't really
mhm.
have many interactions with those
Oh
outside
yeah.
of the
I
bubble.
for sure agree with that. So
Mm.
So it's hard for us to comprehend living without the things that we have. So I think what Andrew just said, having experiences with people like that really helps you grow as a person.
mhm.
So yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I think it's not like, oh, like I'm there like sitting there like feeling bad for them, like petting them on the head and like
Right,
making
right,
their
right.
fears like, go away with like a tissue or something. But it's more like it's like, damn, like these people could like fight through their struggles or like they could figure out stuff for themselves in their own life. Kind of makes me feel like I got to pick up my pace. It's
Hmm,
like I
hmm.
have been blessed with so many great things in my own life. It's like I should be destined for greatness then. If
Right.
this person who was abandoned on the streets at age 15 can like dream of becoming a nurse one day and work at minimum wage for 10 years of his life, like I can also pick up the slack for like 2 years of my life.
Right.
So it's
Exactly.
it's motivating in that sense, for sure. And also one more thing about
Mhm.
working a job is it really made me appreciate money more.
oh
Oh
I was
yeah.
yeah,
having a
yep.
Oh
conversation with
yeah.
Nush like yesterday. I was telling him I was making $12 an hour, which is above minimum wage by a significant bunch because minimum wage is like 8.50 or eight
Yeah, it's like
twenty nine
Yeah.
I
dollars
think
or
it was
Yeah.
like
something.
Yeah.
750 or so.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
how
pretty
what it
good.
is in
I think it's
Indiana,
I
but
around
was I was
750.
getting
I'm
paid
pretty sure.
$12 an hour, which is if you think about it, substantially more than minimum wage. And I was working near full time for 30 to 35 hours a week, and I worked for 5 weeks, and I made $1,500. And you think about that, if you're working 50 weeks a year and you make $1,500 every 5 weeks, that means you're making like
yeah,
$15,000 a
the
year.
entire year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's not livable. Okay,
You
for
gotta
sure
also.
not in Carmel, but like in life in general, that's not like a livable wage.
It doesn't matter where you're living.
It's
You
sad,
are not surviving off of $15,000 a year, and that's
right?
just facts. Like
So not only was like it made me want to like look towards investing my money, but also made me more money conscious, especially about like picking colleges and stuff. It made me
yeah.
weigh like, it made me weigh like, should I pay 70K to go to a college? And that's obviously a personal decision, but for me, I was like, probably not. You know, um,
Mhm, mhm.
I just saw how hard it was. Like I had to wash dishes from like 4 to 12, like 8 hours straight, standing up, just washing dishes for 8 hours straight until my like hands would become wrinkly. Like
Oh yeah.
that was $1,500 right there. How much more is $70,000? So it kind of put everything into perspective, and I was like,
Mhm,
okay,
mhm,
I'm
mhm.
really blessed to like be in the situation that I am now.
Yeah, of
So
course.
that was something else.
Yeah. All right. Any closing thoughts from you guys?
Um, I mean, just to repeat like one overall thing,
Hmm.
it's just like kind of try and figure out the balance between school and like just life in general. I mean, don't I wouldn't say put too much focus on either one of them. Like, it's good to have your priorities straight and then like balancing those things so you can kind of grow as a person and not just be solely in your in your bubble and like focused on just one thing the entire time.
Hmm.
Right. 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 All
And
right.
I think when I was talking to seniors before, when I first entered as a freshman, like Caleb He or like all those other cool kids, the ones that have already graduated, like Aaron She, they'd always be like, yeah, make sure you find a balance. Like, don't be studying too hard. Like, I'd always be like, "How Lamal, that's a joke," because like, oh, what was in my future or what I had seen was like, I would be grinding for Calc BC. That was my future that I had envisioned, So when
Mhm,
someone
mhm.
else told me like you should take it slow or like you should go enjoy the small things in life, I was like, lol, no, you know. And now, like looking back, when I'm at their same age that they had given me that advice, I would now give the exact same advice that they had given
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I
Like
think going off that, like, um, middle school, I was an honors student, so like honors math, honors English, that kind of thing.
mhm,
Freshman year, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do honors algebra 2. I'm gonna get this thing out of the way. I got this. Honors algebra 2 was probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
That was a tough
Like,
class, not gonna lie. That was
like
tough.
it was, it sucked. It genuinely sucked. And I was like, okay, this is terrible. But then I finished for freshman year, and I was like, okay, honors pre-calc. Maybe I can do better. Nope, nope, no. So then I was just like, okay, I really have to do a reality check here and understand that maybe, just maybe, this is not for me. So I was like, all right, you know what? Instead of Calc BC, screw it. I'll just do Calc AB. And
That was
and
your
like,
first
I
mistake,
think,
man.
once you come from such a high like pedestal, like you've been taking all these honors classes, you've
yeah,
been hanging out with the irises, you've been hanging out with all the cool smart kids.
yeah,
It's hard sometimes, to like take off a notch and be like, yo, maybe it's not the best for me right now to
Yeah.
take this
but
like
I
really
think that
high
also I
upper
think that
level
also
class.
shows like an increase in your maturity too,
Yeah,
because
for sure.
because middle school you're always like I have to be the best at math, all right, or something like that. And then high school you're just like, dude, I have to figure out what is best for me and then go from there, and then
Right.
that's it.
Like
And
you
that
can't be aiming like for shots that you can't take.
right, yeah,
Like
yeah,
you should push yourself. But like if I know I'm a really bad artist, like
I'm
if
not
through
gonna
all of like my required art classes in middle school, I should not be like dreaming of becoming like a Da Vinci or like a something.
Michelangelo or something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like another thing to stress about is like, well, I guess is to not like if you mess up on like one test, it's like it's way better to calm yourself down and bring yourself back because there are a lot of opportunities to do that. Like
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a
something
good point. That's a really good point.
something that like a lot like a good portion of my friends know just because for some reason I think it's cool to say it is that I've failed almost every single first test of the year in my math class. The only
Hmm.
non-fail was a D, but
Hmm.
yeah, you still I can still bring it back because that's just
Yeah,
you have those opportunities.
yeah.
I still ended
Hmm.
up with like A minuses or B pluses or even sometimes an A. So like,
Yeah, I
it's
feel like
Mhm.
on the flip side of that too, like obviously if you're getting like really trash grades every single, and this is like advice to like underclassmen or something, but like if you're getting like F's on all your tests and you're not changing anything up and that's bothering you, or like
Oh
if
yeah,
you're harder and like if that's not bothering you, right? Like if you get an F on the first test and you're just still vibing, you're still going to the gym, like you're still hanging out with your friends, you're still
yeah,
able to live your life, that's your own personal decision, but like
yeah,
if you're getting F's and you're hating yourself for it and you're not changing anything about it, that's when it becomes a sad like problem. Because
yeah,
like
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
if
yeah, yeah.
you're unhappy with your situation, like you're unhappy with getting F's and D's, like go seek out a teacher, or like
Go
go
work it out.
go
Yep.
get a Barron's, go get a Princeton review, like go watch Khan Academy videos, like change up your study strategies or like change up your like testing, like however you take the test, right? So
Mhm.
I feel like if you're struggling with it and you don't like the situation you're in, that's when you should do something. But if you're just vibing with it, then there's no problem with that too. So
Right, right.
I mean, like I didn't. I think freshman through junior year, like I failed every single one. Like senior was the only one I didn't fail, but I wasn't like not studying. So you have to figure out what you need to change after something like that happens. So like
yeah.
Hmm,
I was
hmm.
still studying for Calc PC and I did horrible on that test. But then you just have to take a different approach and
Mhm.
like
Yeah, yeah,
or like
exactly.
focus more and go harder on it.
Yeah, like I feel like in high school especially, there's some classes where it's not like how well you know the material, but how well you can take the tests. And
Yeah.
like a lot of people
Oh
will
yeah,
say
yeah,
that for
yeah.
like standardized tests like the SAT and ACTs, like not how well you know English, but like how well you can take the ACT, for example, right? But things for like AP histories or like AP chemistry, like there are certain things that you have to know better, or like like you have to be more focused towards like learning those subjects. So
Right. All right. I think that just about covers everything.
Hmm.
right? All right. Uh,
We haven't really discussed an outro.
um, well,
Thank
that's
you
something.
for listening to the Olive Tree podcast. This has been your hosts, Andrew, Carter, and Nush, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Perhaps about teachers this time.
Perhaps about teachers, correct.
Oh boy, it's
That
gonna be
sounded
fun.
pretty interesting, honestly.
Yeah.
This episode was also sponsored by SeatGeek.
All right. No, we're cutting it there.